This video is sponsored by ProtonVPN. So let's say hypothetically, you are not that big of a fan of having your wireless provider giving warrantless surveillance access to the National Security Agency where they can spy on everything you're doing on your home network. I'm not too big of a fan of that myself. Let's say hypothetically you have a particular show you want to watch, but it's not available in the United States, Canada, or wherever else you live, and you want to trick Netflix or wherever else that you're actually somewhere else. That would be pretty nice, so that way you can actually watch what you want to watch. Let's say you're a streamer and you want to live stream, but you're worried about accidentally leaking your IP address on stream or something like that. A VPN is good for all of these scenarios. It provides you protection and it provides you an extra layer of security on your network, which protects you from any shady third parties looking in. Looking at this lovely comparison chart, you can clearly see that Proton's the only one on this list that isn't owned by the exact same company and isn't in one of the 14 Eyes countries. Now, you may not know about the 14 Eyes countries. Let me go ahead and show you. So the 14 Eyes countries includes a ton of these countries, and they're all an alliance which is entirely involved around monitoring internet activity and sharing intelligence. Not exactly the thing you want if you're looking in a VPN. So you can see that they also provide extra stuff like an ad blocker, malware blocker, and a VPN accelerator. They don't have logs. They don't keep logs at all. And you can get 64% off using ProtonVPN. The link is in the description. Check them out if you want a solid VPN. I can highly recommend them. They are definitely solid, and I appreciate Proton for sponsoring today's video. Now listen, everyone's talking about how good AI is, but not everyone's talking about how good text-to-speech is getting. So these aren't even that good, but just take a listen to this.
Today, the government announced new economic measures aimed at boosting small businesses.
See, when you hear something like that, if you weren't paying too much attention, you may even be convinced that that's real. Now, we all know how dog shit Copilot is, which is Microsoft's sad, pathetic attempt at AI. When you run it, it's literally just Microsoft Edge, but like miniaturized into this little window. And this is literally just a web page. It's literally just ChatGPT with a fresh coat of paint. It's forcing it down our throats, and it's garbage. It can't do shit. Now look, I think putting AI into everything is dumb. However, I don't think the idea of an AI assistant should be entirely dismissed though. The idea of having an AI assistant on your computer is a pretty cool idea. It's just implementations currently really fucking suck. I want my AI to respect my privacy, I want it to be free, and I want it to just work. And I want it to actually have some use for me. And being as I'm typically focusing on non-tech savvy users with the kind of tools that I make, I want it to be usable even for non-tech savvy users as easily as possible. So here's something that Microsoft made that's actually good. It's their text-to-speech models that they integrate into Microsoft Edge, and they sound pretty solid. They're obviously not the greatest out there, but for most people, this is pretty high quality. Now, there is one other tool, and it's called TGPT. So TGPT is AI chatbots in the terminal. So essentially, you can just run this command, TGPT, then type in whatever your question is, and it'll give you a ChatGPT response. And you can even pick providers, and you can set custom flags. You can give it a prompt. You can set specific things that it can and can't do. You can give it image capabilities and code capabilities, which I'll get to later. And you can do all sorts of pretty cool stuff with it. So, combining Edge-TTS and TGPT, I whipped together something that I like to call Jade. Now, I didn't name it myself. I actually let it pick its own name because I thought, how else could I come up with a name for it? So, what it is, and it will be a single exe file that you can just run, add to startup, whatever. But for now, it's Python, because just for the showcase here. When you run it, it creates this little icon down here that I should probably change eventually. So when you run this though, when you click on it, it'll make a noise to let you know that it's recording. So let's give it a shot. What's 2 plus 2?
Wow, really hitting me with the tough stuff, KO. It is 4. Try not to spend it all in one place.
There you go. So if you couldn't tell, it's kind of a fucking asshole. And that's because I customized its personality. I gave it specific instructions on how I wanted its personality to be, and I told it to throw a little sass in there. I told it to kind of be a dick. So obviously, you know, if someone really wanted to get some good utility out of this, they may not want it to be such an asshole, but I thought it was kind of funny. I was playing around with it. Anyways, point of this being, imagine if you had a single icon on your taskbar. You click it, and it makes a little noise to let you know that it's recording. You speak out loud. You just ask it what you want, and then it processes what you said, and it just tells you your answer. That'd be pretty nice, I think. It'd be pretty useful, because I can actually literally imagine some of the older family members of mine, like my mom, my grandma, stuff like that, being able to sit there and ask it the questions that they want, and then obviously their computer can just tell them the answer, which makes, you know, makes their lives a lot easier rather than having to go Google search it, whatever else. I think it just makes things a little bit nicer. Now, whenever TGPT sends what you said to ChatGPT, it sends it anonymized as far as I'm aware, depending on the provider you pick at least. I just checked, it's Pollinations. So we're currently using Pollinations. So here's the thing. I want it to be easy for you to be able to, like, maybe if you right click it instead of left click it, it brings up a little menu and you can select which specific provider you want. You can customize how you want it to answer your questions. Like, you can tell it to have a certain kind of personality or tell it to respond certain ways or whatever. And just allow you to really customize it, make this AI, personalize it however you want. Yes, it can see your computer, it can see your name on the computer, and it knows that's who you are. Maybe I can make it so it doesn't see that if you want, whatever. But the point is having a little AI assistant like this is nice. Now, obviously, since it's using free stuff, there are limits, rate limits, for example. If you're flooding it, if you're asking it a million questions every second, then obviously it's gonna time you out and be like, whoa there, just chill a bit, dude, slow down, pal. So if that happens, obviously, the rate limits and stuff like that, since it's free, this comes with some limits, and it's not the smartest AI model out there either. I'm pretty sure this is running on 4.0, GPT 4.0, but I'm not entirely certain. I think it's running on GPT 4.0 mini. So it's not the smartest model there is, obviously. So I'm actually thinking of possibly even allowing users to input their OpenAI API keys and giving it extra capabilities. Like, what if it wants to search the web for you or do deep research for you and stuff like that? Now, obviously, as you had seen what I mentioned earlier on the GitHub, there is a possibility to make this run code. Now, obviously, it said experimental, and I haven't actually experimented too much with it myself. However, it would be kind of cool if you, like maybe it'd be off by default, and then you could toggle it on if you really want it. But like, imagine if you could tell it to open Firefox for you, or LibreWolf, or whatever browser you're using, and then it opens it up for you. I think that would be pretty cool. It'd be very useful, I think. And then what if you ask it to do some deep research for you? Like, let's say you paid for ChatGPT and you put in your API key here, and you ask it to do some deep research, write a report, put it on your desktop. Walk away from your computer, 30 minutes, come back, and you have a report sitting on your desktop. I think it'd be pretty cool. Now, there's obviously limits here, as I just said, but I think this is a pretty cool start. I want to know your guys' thoughts on what you think about this, because obviously it's not going to be integrated into everything. I don't want it to be integrated in everything. I want to be able to easily turn this off when I don't want it. However, imagine just a single exe file. You can add it to startup, whatever, and you just have a little button right here. You click on it, and there you go. You know, you can just ask your computer whatever you want. You can give it to your grandma, be like, hey, you got questions, ask this, right? It'd be pretty cool, I think. Now, in my little demonstration I did a bit ago, you'll probably notice, yeah, it's got some delay. It's definitely takes a second. First off, I'm running a fucking computer from 2013, so it's not going to be the fastest. Second off, and obviously the voice recognition part, which uses Vosk, by the way. It's a Vosk voice model, if any of you were wondering. Obviously, that kind of processing isn't exactly the fastest on this computer. I'd imagine if you have a much more modern computer, it'd run a lot better. But, you know, also with just sending your response to TGPT, sending it to that provider, processing it, sending it back, stuff like that, there's obviously going to be latency. So this kind of thing is not really to avoid, like you can't really avoid that. It's just kind of because this technology just needs more time to develop. However, I think this is a pretty solid implementation. If anyone ever wanted to have a tool like this, I would definitely find it pretty useful, I think. And I think even implementing a way where it can be voice activated, where you just say, "Hey Jade," or whatever you name it, and it talks to you. It hears you say it, and then it listens. That would be pretty nice. And I actually have that working, but I decided to go with the systray icon route instead. So maybe I could implement both and then have you be able to pick. Current state of AI and all that crap sucks a lot. And the company's implementations of AI sucks a lot, but I think this would actually be a solid implementation of AI that's actually helpful. Let me know what you guys think about this. Give me some feedback in the comments. I'd appreciate it. That's about it. Also, no, I haven't forgotten about TechScamBlock, that tool I was making about blocking tech support scams. Trust me, I remember. We're in development hell with it right now, if that's what you guys were wondering. Currently, there's a problem with it whenever we build it into an exe file. I'm pretty sure I know the fix, though. This is also coming out soon. It's pretty much done by now, so I'll give you guys a full, proper video update on this whenever it's finished. I just wanted to make sure it was clear for those of you who are still wondering what happened to this project. Okay, that's actually about it.